You guys, let me stop shaking the camera. You guys, today was a day. What's up guys, my name is Julie. This is the Curated Curvy, where I bring you along for the journey as I attempt to create the curated wardrobe of my dreams with these two hands. And today I have for you all a haul, a very big haul. So I live in like the DFW. Okay, I'm gonna have to get used to this. Right now, my camera is actually attached to my table. Side note, disclaimer. So every time I touch the table, my camera moves. I'm going to try and be as conscious as I can of that, but if the camera shakes, I apologize in advance. We're doing what we can out here in these internet streets, okay? So anyways, I have for you all a haul. As I was saying, I live in the DFW area, and today there were not one, but there were like two kind of like fabric de-stash markets going on, and it was glorious. I found out about the first one from a friend that I follow on Instagram. She posted about it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's in my area. She was like, yeah, you should definitely hit it up. So I made sure to get there bright and early, and it did not disappoint. While I was there, another person who is also on social media was talking to another person, and she was like, yeah, after this I'm gonna go hit up the one over at Not Your Mama's Quilt Shop. And I was like, where's that at? Literally, it was about 10 minutes away. So after that one, I went to the next one, and we got some things. So I will start with the patterns. So for the first one, it was being hosted by the American Sewing Guild, the DFW chapter, and they had fabric and they also had patterns. All of their patterns and their books were free. Y'all know, if you don't know anything else, please know this. I love a good out of print book. I feel like the techniques are going to be timeless. Zipper insertion back then would be no different from zipper insertion today. And so I love a good, like, you know, sewing technique book. Quick disclaimer before we begin, it is Saturday. I am recording from my house, and I live in a house with people who are alive, and people who are alive do tend to make noise. So if you hear any noises in the background, like that, that is what it is. Nevertheless, we're going to continue and we're going to get this done. At the second location, some of the patterns were 25 cents and then their other patterns were 50 cents, and that was as high as it got. So you know your girl had to stock up. I'm gonna have a close-up of each pattern as I'm talking about it, so you're not squinting and trying to figure it out. And without further ado, let's get into the patterns. So the first one is the Oxford pants. I am by Lois Hines Design. I've never heard of this designer. I hope that all the pieces are here. It doesn't look like they're cut, so I'm really hopeful that the size for me personally is there. It's an elastic waist. I think it has like a faux fly front, and then it also has the belt loops, which I thought were just like a really cool idea. So I picked this one up. It would be a great one to have in my stash. The next one is a Burda pattern, and this is Burda 8831. When I was going through the bins, I thought initially that this was a knit, and knit is really in right now. So I was looking at that skirt, and I still think that I might be able to do it, but that skirt and like a ponte knit with the buttons going down it, I feel like it's just really something that feels very now, and so I went ahead and I picked it up for that purpose. The next one is a quick sew pattern, and this is quick sew 3009. It's giving shacket vibes. I am not interested whatsoever in view B, but view A had me from the start. I love a really simple silhouette. I love a really simple pattern, and I find that quick sew patterns usually tick that box. This is another one where I know that I can play around with the different types of fabrics that I use. So in the winter I can use something like heavier weight, like a flannel, but right now in the season that we're in, this would be just as nice and like a denim or like a stiffer cotton, like a home deck cotton. So I went ahead and I picked this one up. And the next one is another quick sew pattern, and this is quick sew 2864. It's just a really simple long lined dress with a slit on the slide, and I recently watched Parent Trap with my daughter, and the mother's aesthetic in that movie is just kind of like living rent free in my head, like that old money aesthetic. It's giving like I didn't try, but like I'm here, you know? All right, the next one is a Vogue pattern. This is 7063, and it is just your simple button down collared blouse, tailored. It has interesting, the darts come up pretty high, and it seems like they do a lot of shaping through the waist, and then it also has the covered button placket, which is not a technique that I've ever tried before, so it's nice to have patterns in my stash that have different techniques. Y'all, I already feel like this is gonna be a long video, so if you haven't already, pause the video, get yourself a cup of tea or something. I'm gonna try and go fast. I talk fast as is, and you guys told me I talk too fast all the time. But I feel like now's not the time to slow down because we got a lot to get through. All right, moving on. Next we have Simplicity 5063, and this is one of the 1 hour patterns. I have seen in their latest drop that they're bringing back those 1 hour patterns, which is interesting because a lot of setters have echoed the same sentiment and that we haven't seen them for a while. But this is a 1 hour pattern and it is multiple. So you get like a wrap skirt that ties to the side, you get a regular skirt with a tie in the front, you get a long pair of loose fitting trousers, you get a pair of shorts. It's a really comprehensive like 1 hour bottoms pattern. All right, the next one is another Simplicity pattern. This is 5562, and I really got this for the shorts. I'm really not interested in any of the views of the pants of this, but for 25-50 cents, that's perfect for the shorts pattern. I love like a good like elastic waist or drawstring short pattern. I've also seen a lot of them with these like the patch pockets on the side in the stores recently when I've gone in to do a little bit of shopping, and so it's very in now, but it's one of those things that have always been in and will always be in, so it's great to have in my stash. The next one is a Very Easy Vogue. This is just like a jacket pattern, a really simple jacket. I love the Very Easy Vogue jacket patterns because they do come together so easily, and I feel like again the styles are just timeless. They're classic, you know. So I went ahead and I grabbed this one. Didn't hurt that it was in my size. The next one is a vintage pattern. This is Vintage Simplicity 7363. This is actually in my size. So usually I'm pretty like when I see a vintage pattern that is actually in my size, it takes a lot of reserve not to snag it up because they don't come by. I don't come by them very often. This is a nightgown pattern and a house robe pattern, and I don't know, like I want to be that mom who's just like walking around the house like making breakfast in something like this. Like why not? So I went ahead and I grabbed this one. I'm trying to see if I can find the year on here. This is 1967. All right, next I have two McCall's Kids patterns. So this is just a shorts and like woven top set, and it has like different back options for kids. So one is a crisscross back, one is like the halter top, and one is buttons down the back. I just love these for my daughter for the summer because I can whip them up really quickly, and if she runs through them and like wears them to pieces, it's really no love lost because they didn't take a lot of time to make and they don't require a lot of fabrics. The next one I got for like for the leggings pattern for her, this is McCall's 8105. This one I got because with the patterns they were like buy one get one free, which would mean they were $1 otherwise. They were $1, and if you bought two then it was buy one get one free, which is kind of just like 50 cents for both patterns. So I had an odd number of patterns and I needed one more to get like that extra 50 cents off, and I'd rather get the extra 50 cents off than pay $1 for the pattern, if that makes sense. So I went ahead and I grabbed this one. The next one is another 1 hour pattern, and this is just a simple wrap skirt pattern all through and through. Simple wrap skirt. It's in my size. Love it. The next one is a little t-shirt pattern. Is this for wovens or knits? So this is for stretch knits only, and it's just a lot of different t-shirt options, and we're at the point now where all of these things are back in style. Like I remember when these patterns were a thing, like when I was much younger, and like I said, we're back to the point where these patterns are very much a thing again, so gotta have it in the stash. The next one, oh my gosh, this is the cutest little girl's pattern. Just adorable. I can totally see my daughter in all versions of this. I am very excited to make this up for her, and I showed it to her and she was really feeling it too, so fingers crossed that it's a success. Next I got another vintage pattern, and this is actually also in my size, and I just really like that like mod style dress. I feel like this is probably another 60s pattern. Oh no, this is 1972. Again, still factory folded, still has the instructions inside perfectly intact. Very interested in doing this. All right, this one was really interesting. I haven't quite seen anything like this, but I really like it. I really like it. It's just a really cute button down blouse. It has kind of like a camp style collar, but it's a lot like more rounded out, not as like triangular as your traditional camp style collars. A lot of really fun sleeve variations. It's just very feminine and just very interesting. All right, next I have another vintage pattern. This is a vintage house robe. Not much to say about this. This one is actually not my size, but I'm like one size up from this in vintage patterns, so I would just try, if I tried my hand at it, at tracing this out and just sizing it up. and I think I might have some success. It's a house robe, so there should be a considerable amount of ease in it, but you never know. All right, next is the Mommy and Me pattern. The front of this pattern does not do it justice. I am definitely more interested in the line drawings in the back, and it's just kind of like a simple, almost like that apron style dress, with like the scoop neckline, the low cut armholes, the button placket down the center, tie around the back. This is just a really classic dress that I definitely know that I want to have in my stash. All right, this is another quick sew pattern, and this one is like beyond the line, is another one where you have to look at the line drawings. The front is looking, it's giving a little bit matronly, you know, it's looking a little bit whatever, but the line drawings, the top is actually really cool, and there's a lot of opportunity for like color blocking and print mixing, and so this is one that I'm actually more interested in than most of them. Next, again, the old money aesthetic. What was I saying? What the name of it was? Parent Trap. I totally could see the mom walking down the street with this bag in her hand and this floppy hat on, and I low-key want to be that mom this summer. Just saying. Another very easy Vogue pattern. This is just a tie front blazer. Interestingly enough, Mimi G has just came out with a pattern very similar to this, and so again, it's one of those things that I don't think will ever go out of style. You just change the fabric of it, and you use a fabric that's more like today, but you can't go wrong with something like this. Next is Simplicity 76. Somebody stapled this, that's interesting. 7666, and this is another one of those patterns for the little girls. It's just like the two-piece, the shorts and the tops, the woven with different options in the back, because like I said, these are perfect for my daughter going into spring and summer. All right, now that was all from the Not Your Mama's Quilt Shop. That's a funny name, but that was all from theirs. And basically how they had their setup was they had different people come out, and each person had like a table set up, and you could shop their table, kind of like shop their stash. So all of that was from there. The next few patterns that I have to show you were from the Sewing Guild, which was the first one that I went to. And this one is another house coat, another vintage pattern. Again, still factory folded, instructions are in there, and this is actually in my size. This one is another night pattern with a long nightgown, but this one I like because it also has the two-piece nightgown, the shorts and the top. This is another one that is one size down from my size, so it's a 14-16, where I would need an 18-20, but I think, again, I can easily size it up to get the size that I need. I'm hoping that this is one of the patterns by now where they included multiple size ranges within the pattern, so I can see exactly how much to add to each seam to easily size it up. Another quick sew pattern, but this is for the guys. This is quick sew 22-35, and truth be told, I low-key want this for me. I just feel like, again, this is kind of like on those days where I'm really feeling like I was a child of the 90s and I wanted to show, like, this is giving that. This is a home deck pattern, and it's just different types of pillows. Again, this is one of those patterns where the pattern envelope, obviously the styles are really dated, but that is just easily fixable by using styles that are very current and fabrics, excuse me, that are current and that are in right now. This is a kids pajama pattern, and I like that it has the house robe along with the two-piece pajamas, so I went ahead and picked that up. This one's looking a little light, so I feel like someone may have dug into this one and cut around, so this will be like a surprise when I actually see what's left in here. This is another little girl's pattern. I just think this is the sweetest little summer dress. Like, can't go wrong with a sweet summer dress. You just can't. This is an interesting pattern. It is Prairie Clothing Company circa 1991, and it's a drop waist romper with puffy sleeves and a detachable collar, and I don't know, I think it's really fun. I think it's really fun. And so it's one of those things where this will probably this will be just like a just for funsies project if I ever get around to this. I don't think it's something that I would take seriously, but I'd just be interested in sewing because it looks kind of cool. This is a kids quilted vest that I thought was like super cool. It's called a sampler vest, and so you can learn a variety of quilting techniques and kind of like pair them all together for this. I also like that it has like the little basque waist for kids. I think that's just a really fun detail to add to something. I got two old Simplicity instruction books. One is on buttonholes and pockets, and one is on zipper and zipper insertion, how to insert a zipper, how to hand sew it, how to sew it into clothes, how to sew it into home deck stuff. And then this one for buttonholes and pockets, just different pockets, different designs of pockets, pocket insertions, making your own buttonholes by hand, So again, these books, like I said, the style may change and may no longer be relevant, but the information is forever. This is McCall's, and this is a tank shirt and dress pattern. It can be used for wovens or knits, which I think is a really nice pattern to have. So next is a quilted zip up hoodie. Quilted jackets are very much in right now, and so it's just nice to have a little pattern in case I want to dip my toe in that water. The next one, this is the only one that I picked up that I didn't realize was absolutely not my style. For whatever reason, I thought it was a medium, but it's a small. But it's a Willi Smith pattern, and if you're not familiar with Willi Smith, he was an African-American designer who was very much prominent and very well respected and well sought after in like your 90s and like your late 80s to your 90s. And this is a pattern by him, and so I got it, and it's a small. So this is just like way on the other end of the scale, so much so that I don't even think it would be reasonable to attempt to size it up. So this is definitely gonna have to be redonated. All right, next is a jacket pattern with different yoke varieties, and I just really like this jacket because it looks super extra. It has like the most like giant puffy sleeves that one could imagine, like these just very strong shoulders and silhouettes, and so I'd like to play around with this one. The next one, I'm not even gonna lie to you and tell you I know what this is. It says something about a collar. I don't know if it's the shirt pattern or I don't know if they're trying to sell me a technique. I hope it's the shirt pattern, because if it is, it's a really sweet top, but I don't know. And this book is on the Bishop method of clothing construction. I don't know what that means, but I love a good sewing resource book. I do. So it'll be really fun to just sit down and kind of like dive into this and see what exactly is in here, and if I can use the information in here to construct garments better, or if it's a new method of constructing garments from scratch. Oh, and then with all of the patterns, I got all of this elastic. This is like your 1/4 inch elastic, 1/4 wide, for $3. You can't beat that. I'm assuming that this was probably left over from the mask making era, and they just didn't know what to do with it at this point. But you know, these days everything has not everything, but most things have elastic in them in some capacity, so can't go wrong with having this in your stash. All right, now that is all of the fabrics. Let me see, how much time are we at on this video? We are already at 20 minutes. So what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna go ahead and record a part 2 where I go through all of the fabric that I got, so that you guys are not bored of me and clicking off before we get to like the end of the video. So until next time, stay beautiful, make great things, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I'll talk to you later. Bye.